Another day, another 10-run victory as the Tigers take the series in the Bronx. We'll talk about that and more all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Thursday, September 11th, 2025. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. It excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you all are having a good Thursday. Today we talk about the 11-1 victory over the New York Yankees in the Bronx to solidify and guarantee a series victory against the Yankees. Huge win. And again, a one that will be looked at as an uncompetitive game. We talked about it going into the series, right? This is a Yankees team that has had really bad bullpen production. And so now the first two games of the series were close until it turned over to the Yankees bullpen, and then it completely imploded on itself from the Yankees side of things. And it ends up being 10-run victories for your Detroit Tigers and a series win. Feels good. Feels really good. This was a really important series to take. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. Tigers improved to 84-62 on the season, while the Yankees fall to 80-65 on the year. So, yeah, I mean, first thought, I kind of already cheated and went into the first thought a little bit. But what a win. This was awesome because it did not feel as, I don't know, fluky. Like, it didn't feel as much of a complete and utter meltdown like game one did. Now, there still was 8 runs scored in the last 2 innings. But, like, game one was a historic, like, may not see that, for the next 10 years, a pitching performance as bad as that 7th inning in game one. This was just bad pitching that the Tigers took advantage of. It wasn't a billion walks. They were putting the ball in play. They were hitting it hard. I think this game looked a lot more to me like the Tigers were just the better team on the field through 9 innings. And that's a beautiful thing, because this is a team that is in kind of the hunt with you for that first round bye and for the best record in the American League come playoff time. Tigers had great pitching, yet again, great at bats, yet again, and great pitching, great starting pitching, and great bullpen work as well. The defense was solid, just everything really clicking. The thing that I love the most, there's a lot of things, actually, I'm realizing about this game that I love the most. I think one of my favorite moments was Dylan Dingler stretching that double into a triple in a 5-run game late. 5 runs isn't the world, but it's also, it breaks the 4-run rule of like what a close game is, right? A 1-swing game type of thing. So I really like him still, hustling like that. Obviously, the Tigers still then, cross 5 more runs to the plate even after that. Gritty, I think, is the word. It's not that long ago. The gritty Tigers. We're not, just a figment of our imaginations floating away. But I think that this, even though, again, it ended up being a 10-run victory, I think that kind of personifies that mindset. So, huge win. What went right in this ball game? Jack Flaherty. I want to start with him. We'll talk plenty about the offense and everything that went well on that side of the ball, but Jack Flaherty with the start goes 5 innings, 2 hits of shutout baseball with 1 walk and 7 strikeouts. His ERA goes down to 4.69 on the season. This was fantastic. This was absolutely fantastic. The fastball was the best I've seen from Flaherty in quite some time. He was command-wise with the fastball, dotting that pitch low glove side in the strike zone to right-handed hitters. So to not over-explain, just low and away to righties. All game. He was absolutely fantastic locating the pitch there and got a ton of called strikes with that spot. This was a masterclass. I mean, truly. The curveball was sensational. He had a lot of success with that pitch as well. This looked a lot like the Jack Flaherty from the first half of 2024. A little bit of extra zip on the fastball, a curveball that kept everybody off balance, a slider to keep everybody honest. I really hope that version of him is here to stay, because this rotation has been a massive talking point of this franchise over the last, really since the All-Star break, over the last 2 months. And we did a whole episode on, what was that, Monday's show or Tuesday's episode, Monday off day, this week, just about, right, how is the pitching staff going to look the rest of the season? Is this even salvageable? Is this something that can be fixed? This rotation looks significantly different in the best possible connotation. Significantly different if Mize and Flaherty look like they just did in this series and in their last 2 outings, or in their most recent outings, I guess. Now, the flip side of that is they have both been wildly inconsistent this year. Flaherty has had good start, bad start, good start, bad start. Mize has been really good for stretches and then had an ERA over 7 for over a month. So I'm not ready to just be like, oh, our pitching problems are all solved, right? All my worries I've had for the last 2 months compounding and building on each other are completely, evaporated just because of these 2 games. No, certainly far from that. But this is a great sign that it gives you hope that it's at least possible, okay? It's possible. There is a chance that Mize and Flaherty can navigate through a postseason lineup in 2025. Because they just did it in a wonderful, wonderful fashion on Tuesday and Wednesday night. Let's talk about the offense. Then we'll get into the bullpen, a bunch of other stuff as well. We'll do all of that right after this. First, though, I'm going to talk to you all about our friends over at 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. Okay, time to fuel up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of the golf course to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game, whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power through your long day. 5 Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. There is so much joy to be had out on the golf course. It's all about good time with good people and good flavors. The grape, ginger, lime flavor of 5 Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without ever leaving the course and chasing down the bev cart. Now you can amp up the fun even more. You just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters Tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. Also got to talk to y'all about our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and it is in full swing, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. FanDuel is great because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, building same-game parlays, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in As always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. And we will, of course, be back tomorrow recapping this series finale against the New York Yankees and previewing the weekend series against the Miami Marlins. Today, though, we talk about this 11-1 victory from your Detroit Tigers. The offense, 11 runs. Obviously a great day at the office. Now, they only had 2 through 6 innings. But I thought that this was, again, an instance where the at-bats were maybe a lot better than that box score will show. Obviously, again, not the final box score, but the final line for Rodon was decent, 6 innings of 2-run ball. But I thought the at-bats were competitive. And I think that conversation, if you're talking about individuals to highlight, has to start with Parker Meadows. Guys, I'm really trying not to get ahead of myself, because I have a tendency to do that, as we know. 2 for 4 with a walk. Okay, gets on base 3 times. RBI. Had the home run in game 1. Played good center field yet again. His RBI single was also off of a lefty specialist that was brought in the game just to face him. First pitch, rips it to right field for an RBI. My favorite play of the game, though, from Parker Meadows. My favorite. Okay? Guess. Let's see if you can guess what it is. I haven't talked about it yet. After the single, he was standing on first base. Javi Baez hits a fly ball to center field. It's not a close game. It's not a competitive ball game. And he's on first on a ball hit to kind of like right center field, to be honest. Parker Meadows tags up. Gets the second with ease. That is comfortably my favorite play of the game. I think it perfectly highlights and kind of encapsulates the dynamic, traits, the dynamic production that he can provide. He is a dynamic baseball player that when he is hitting even decently well, even if he's hitting at a below league average clip, if it's only slightly below, he is an incredibly valuable asset to this team. And I'm so happy to see him swinging a hot stick here yet again and playing pain-free, which him and AJ have said is a big reason why they're seeing him play as well as he is. Kerry Carpenter, speaking of lefties hitting big shots off lefties, Kerry Carpenter with a absolute huge home run off of, again, a lefty specialist that was in the ball game. That was really cool to see. But again, those are 2, highlights. But like Glaber had 3 RBI in this game. Like they scored off of everybody, though. The only pitcher they did not score off of in the entire game was the position player at the end that was throwing 35. Rodon, Leiter, Duvall, Hill, Weaver, all guys that either they have given high leverage situations at some point this year or traded for at the deadline with the purpose of giving high leverage situations this year. They got earned runs off of literally everybody. That is just good competitive at-bats, top to bottom, working counts, but it was all the time you hear coaches and people when talking about like what does the best offense look like, it's aggressively patient. It's like the big oxymoron that people love to use, and it's true. And this was, I think, the epitome of that. They only had 1 walk on the game, but they had 16 hits. They were getting deep into counts. There was a lot of guys that only faced a few batters because their pitch count got high and they were getting rocked. Rodon only goes 6, I say with air quotes, because he certainly could have gone further had he deserved it. I was really impressed with the at-bats in this ball game, even in the first 6 innings when it was only 2-0. I thought that they were really competitive. Already talked about Glaber. Really cool to see him get a huge hit at Yankee Stadium. Riley Greene with a tank to right field. That was a line drive. That ball was a laser. Absolutely crushed. Torkelson, I think some of the best at-bats we've seen from him lately. Just has really kind of his offensive numbers were starting to really plummet there. I mean, OPS back up to 790 after this game when he gets 3 hits total. Dylan Dingler just rocks. We already talked about the triple he had earlier, but that was one of 2 hits for him. Actually, 3. I forgot he got a hit there late as well. So he goes, 3 hits. Just a really, really every single hitter, every single position player that recorded a plate appearance got a hit. Not even just reached base, got a hit in this ballgame. Trey Sweeney, didn't have a plate appearance. He was a defensive sub. Colt Keith comes in, gets a pinch hit home run. Like, everybody got at least 1 hit. And that's beautiful, baby. You're going to win a lot of games when you have, 11 different people record hits. The bullpen, I also thought was fantastic. Tyler Holton, 1 inning, 1 hit, no earned runs, no walks, and 1 strikeout. The ERA back down to 3.8 now on the season. He's a huge asset to this bullpen. And, I've focused so much recently on the, who needs to step up in the starting rotation and who could step up and what needs to happen in that regard. Well, in the bullpen, there might not be a single person that can positively raise the ceiling of this bullpen more than Tyler Holton, because he is the best lefty in the entire bullpen. And we know Hinch is going to play matchup ball. So Tyler Holton is, dare I say, vital that he looks like he did the last 2 seasons as we head into the end of the regular season and the postseason this year. He's going to be a really important asset to keep an eye on. And then Troy Melton was dynamic. I feel like I've said dynamic about 50 times this episode. 2 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Obviously, the home run against was the 1 earned run. 2.5 ERA now on the season. Obviously, the 1 bad pitch to Wells, but besides that, I thought he looked absolutely fantastic. He was also dotting his fastball, even getting people with the change-up splitter thing he's got going on. Got Jazz Chisholm Jr. with that, which I thought was really cool to see him pull out. He is the man, and he is going to be a good starting pitcher down the road. It's just right now for this season, the Tigers are kind of between a rock and a hard place of do we make the bullpen worse and make him a starting pitcher, or do we make the rotation worse and make him a reliever? And they've landed on the choice that they have. So he'll be in the pen, but he will pitch valuable innings for this team down the stretch. And he deserves to. I think he deserves to be one of the higher leverage relievers this team has to offer. He looked great. And I think and then Hannafy gets, the super low leverage 9th inning there. I think it's important to note too, the Tigers are up 2-0 in this 3-game set and had an off day on Monday and have only used 4 relievers total in those 2 games. That's great. That's awesome. Because now you're extremely fresh. I mean, Will Vest, hasn't pitched in ages. You're extremely fresh going into this finale when you might need your high leverage relievers more than you have all series. And then even if you don't, then you're just even more rested going into that series in Miami. So really good stuff all around there. What went wrong? I mean, not a whole lot on the field. Really, nothing again in terms of the game that was played. Every single Tiger got a hit. They went 3 for 9, I want to say, with runners in scoring position. Yeah. I mean, that's a great clip. That's going to, if you do that every day all season, you'd be the best team with RISP in ages. I think the only single at bat I was legitimately frustrated with was Kerry Carpenter striking out, full count, ball not even close to the strike zone, men on 2nd and 3rd, no outs. He takes that, the first base is open. You know that he doesn't have to pitch to you. And it was just not a very competitive pitch for him to go fishing at and got the strikeout there. But Ultimately, didn't matter. You won by 10, and Kerry Carpenter hit a tank off of a lefty later in the game. I'm far more impressed with that than I am disappointed in the strikeout. So we'll take it. This was a fantastic game of baseball. Let's talk stuff. Got a couple more things with the game, then want to talk about the report and the article from The Athletic that came out on Wednesday as well. We will do both of those things right after this. Got to talk to you all about our friends over at Nutrafol. You've probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, like that actually works. There are so many products out there, and it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. That's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. It's not just hype. This is the supplement clinically tested that targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach. There's so many great features, and you can see thicker and stronger hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month's subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Third and final segment of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate you all for tuning in, as always. So the only other thing I really want to bring up with the ball game that I thought was unique was the rule where the Tigers got to advance one base when the ball went into the catcher's equipment. I think that's something that is so fascinating and just does not even happen once a season. Just is so rare. And I love baseball for reasons like that. There's just like sure enough, AJ out there, hey, they should advance a base. That's a dead ball. When the ball is under, the chest protector like that and they get to advance a base, I thought that was fascinating. I think that's pretty much it. Good win. We'll preview the finale here at the end of the show. I do want to talk about the report from The Athletic, written by Brittany Giroli and Alex Andrijev. I believe I'm pronouncing both those right. If I'm not, obviously no offense intended. This is an important thing to talk about, and I don't want to, just because it's not happening on the field, I don't want to just gloss over and act like, it's not something that's actively affecting this organization. The article highlighted at least 8 men employed by the Tigers, its business arm or broadcast partner, that have been accused of sexual misconduct in the workplace. We've talked about some of these while they've happened. I've tried to bring these up. Again, I think it's really important to talk about and not just like brush over or ignore. Sam Menzin, we talked about that when it happened. Craig Monroe, talked about that multiple times when it was happening. So those two mentioned in the article, but obviously a lot more names in this one as well. Cameron Maben being one of those on the broadcasting side of things. All in the report, it highlighted the fact that 7 of the 8 employees were employed by Illich Sports and Entertainment, and 6 of them, I believe it said, had been fired or like their contracts weren't renewed, aren't a part of the organization anymore, but that still means that a couple of them aren't. The Tigers have released some statements since that piece came out, either pushing back or honestly, like one of the statements they had was, we appreciate people coming forward, like we're trying to change, that sort of thing. The issue, there's obviously a ton of issues here. One of the issues here is hearing men and women both in this article, it's a tough read, and both saying that at Illich Sports and Entertainment, they don't think that it is a place where women are safe. Men and women are saying that. And culture was a big talking point. The big quote in there was boys club. The reason I think that this is so important, just, in society, right? Like we want people to feel comfortable and accepted and welcomed. But I think that I love this baseball team and this sport more than just about anything. This team has been my personality trait since I could walk. Everybody that wants to feel the joy and the pain that we feel watching this silly sport should be able to do so. And it is painful that there are so many people out there that may not feel comfortable enough to be a part of this dumb thing we love so much. So much of what was written was a really poor reflection on the culture at Illich Sports and Entertainment. And I hope that something happens, whether that's internal, whether that's external help, they bring in a third party or something that can provide some sort of change in that regard. We don't just get to pretend like this doesn't affect people and that this hasn't affected people. It does, and it has. And we want to be able to take pride in our team, obviously. If the most stressful thing that I think about on a daily basis is how my baseball team is playing, then I am living an incredibly blessed life. Do not let this beautiful game that is an escape, shows like this, the games themselves, the news about baseball is an escape for so many people. Don't let it be an unwelcoming stressor for others. Anybody that wants to use this as an escape or a career path or whatever should be able to do so and feel welcome. It is a crazy world out there. Just be safe and be kind. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. I end every single episode with it. Okay. Just be kind. Okay. Don't be kind to baseballs tomorrow, though, because your Detroit Tigers are going for a series sweep in New York. We have TBD for the Detroit Tigers against Schlittler for the Yankees. AJ Hinch said that Sawyer Gibson-Long will be a prominent part of, I forget the exact wording, but it was something like that, prominent part of the pitching plan tomorrow. I don't he might start and just only go one, maybe 1.5 times through the lineup. We'll see, but there's a decent chance we have an opener situation tomorrow as well. So whatever works. I mean, they proved pitching chaos can work down the stretch, obviously last year. That's what they go with again this year. I'm not going to get in the way of that. It worked with flying colors a year ago. September 11th as well. On this series finale, you are playing the Yankees in New York on September 11th. That's always going to hold meaning as we never forget those lives who were lost. It sounds like the president might be there. And I think Tony Paul of the Detroit News said the Tigers haven't played in a game where the president was present in 40-something years, which I thought was just an interesting stat. So, okay, go get a series win. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. And we will, of course, be back tomorrow recapping said series finale. Be kind. I appreciate you all so much. I appreciate this community. I appreciate this fan base. And peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. I'll catch y'all tomorrow, baby. Go Tigers.